Now, when you plant in containers, you want to use a potting soil. And I'm going to demonstrate a way you can save some money by making an easy 4-part potting soil that's going to come with its own organic fertilizer when it comes back. Okay, now when you go to the store to buy soil, you're going to find potting soil, you're going to find garden soil, you're going to find organic potting soil, you're going to find organic garden soil. You get the picture? There's so many different ones with different names, basically all with different prices, and it gets real expensive and you can get overwhelmed. I'm going to keep it real simple. If you want to grow in a container, you want to use a potting soil, okay? Nothing necessarily special unless you're growing something that's very acidic and you're going to need an acidic type of potting soil, and that would have more, generally speaking, some more peat in it so that brings the acidity down, okay? In this container, like I said, this one is regular topsoil, okay? Not garden soil, regular topsoil. It's about $2 a bag for, I think it's a 1 or 1.5 cubic foot bag, okay? So that's what's here. This is one part of the formula. So when I say there's 2 parts of this, I fill this pot all the way to the top, and then this other part, the same size, is half the quantity. So this is half the quantity. So this is 2 to 1, a 2 to 1 ratio, okay? And what do I have in here? This is peat, okay? This is what's going to help to kind of loosen up this very hard, say very compacted topsoil, and this is going to help to loosen it up, okay? There's one more ingredient, and that you're going to need to use a dust mask, and I'll put that on when I'm ready to use this. And this other ingredient is called perlite. Now, when I open this bag, I put my hand in here and I start stirring this stuff up, it's going to make a cloud of dust. You don't want to breathe that, okay? That's why I have the little mask. A 1-gallon pot, because I'm going to use one 1-gallon pot to the total volume of the mix that I just am going to make here for you. Okay, so now I look silly. I'm wearing these goggles, and the reason I'm wearing the goggles is because, as I said earlier, I'm going to wear a dust mask. And since there's going to be so much dust coming out of this bag, I don't want to get any of that in my eyes, okay? So I would suggest you protect your face from breathing in, and I want you to protect your eyes, okay? So I'm just going to open the bag once I put the mask on so you can see what perlite is all about, and then I'll explain why we use it. I'm going to take the perlite, it's right here. You can see it's basically it's white, and it's been basically heated up, and it's turned into this material here that is used, mixed into the soil, so that it creates some porosity, some air spaces, so that your soil can breathe. So the mix that I use is 1, sometimes 2 of these, depending on how quickly I want this soil to dry out. So I'm going to go with 1. After it's all mixed, I may add another 1 or about half, but I think 1's going to be enough. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start mixing all 3 parts together. All right, so we're just about ready to get started. I've already got the 2 mixes, the topsoil and the peat, 2 parts to 1 part. Okay, so let me move this out of here. I'm going to start by dumping half the content into the wheelbarrow. Place this to the side. Then I'm going to take my mask, put it on for a minute, because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in about half of that perlite. Now that's pretty good right there. And now I'm going to take about half of the peat. And I really don't need the mask for this, but if you want to wear it, you can, because you're going to get a little bit of dust from the peat, but it won't be bad like the perlite. All right, so I've put about half that quantity, and I'm going to mix it up. At this point, I don't need to worry too much about the mask, because at this point you have a very good mix already, but you got to make sure that you really mix the peat thoroughly. Now, if you have a need for a much larger quantity, you can always get a cement mixer or something like that. You can also use a shovel, stand up, use a shovel and turn this. And that's becoming a really nice soil. That's a nice potting soil that it kind of, and it's not properly mixed. I'm going to mix it some more. It kind of holds together, but still crumbles apart. And I have now used the complete quantity of topsoil, which was in the pot over there, in the green pot. And then I added the 1 gallon quantity of the perlite, and then I went ahead and I continued with the rest of the peat so that I could make a fairly inexpensive potting soil. So how much did this cost? Well, believe it or not, that huge bag of perlite was only like $20. And I have had that for years, because I literally use about this much to make about half a wheelbarrow or a small barrel worth of soil. So I use very little. And also, unfortunately, a lot of times I don't have time to go through this, so I'll pay the money and I'll buy some quality potting soil, okay? But if you want to make your own, you can, and this is pretty much what it's going to take. Will you save money? Yes, because that $20 over there is about half the cost of a 3 cubic foot bag, in some cases, of a decent potting soil. Now, the peat comes in a 3 cubic foot bale, a very heavy bale, and that compressed peat is about $11. And you saw how much I used. So, you know, when you add that plus the other perlite and the $2, I would say that this is costing you less than $3. You know, $2.50, $2.75, maybe $3, a little over at the worst case scenario. But you will definitely save some money by doing this, as opposed to paying maybe $6 for the same volume, or maybe more, for the same volume of potting soil. All right, so we've got our fertilizer right here. We're going to take just a little bit. We'll take a little handful. It's very little. And we're just going to spread it in there a little bit. And that doesn't do that much, but it gives us a little bit of nutrition, okay? Then after I mix it up pretty good here, I'm going to take another little handful, and I'm just going to spread that out, and then make sure that you work that in really good, because with these fertilizers, especially some of the ones that contain bat guano, if you just clump the fertilizer up in one spot, you're going to burn your plants. So spread it out real good into your soil like this, okay? Now when that's done, you want to go ahead and you want to get your 1 gallon pot out, okay? And you're going to take your little plant, keep the little label on the side. Always a good idea to squeeze the pot, turn it upside down, and if this gives you a challenge, cut the pot, okay? Just cut through the pot. And I do have one more over here. All right, so let me finish potting this guy up over here, and I want to say thank you. I want you to consider using the mycorrhizal fungi, the biochar, and some other little amendments that you can add. But if you really, really want to try something that's working really well, try the Mayan 33. Till next time, Pepe here, Pepe's Plants. Have a great one. Bye-bye now.